You're sitting in an interview room at a Silicon Valley tech company, wearing a carefully picked linen shirt and holding a notebook with a hand-stitched cover. Your heart's beating a little faster than usual. When the interviewers fire technical questions at you, you blank out twice, even mix up a small part of your programming logic explanation. Walking out of the conference room, you kick yourself, sure you've blown the opportunity. But 3 days later, a job offer lands in your inbox, out of the blue. Later, once you're on good terms with your department head, you find out the interviewers all agreed. You came off super professional. Even if you stumbled on some details, it was probably just because you didn't have enough prep time. You might not have realized it, but that polished, professional vibe from your shirt and notebook acted like a halo, quietly covering up your on-the-spot mistakes. That's the famous psychological phenomenon, known as the halo effect at work. What is the halo effect? The concept of the halo effect was first proposed by American psychologist Edward Thorndike in 1920. In his experiments, he found that when participants gave a high rating to a soldier's physical build, they'd unconsciously give higher scores to the soldier's other traits too, like intelligence, leadership, and cooperativeness. On the flip side, if they thought a soldier had a poor build, their ratings for the other traits would drop. Thorndike named this judge the whole but one part cognitive quirk the halo effect. Put simply, once we form a positive or negative impression of one trait in a person, thing, or object, we tend to spread that impression to other traits we don't know about. It's like how the halo around the moon blurs its edges, making the whole moon look rounder and brighter. The halo from one trait clouds our ability to judge the whole thing objectively. From a cognitive psychology perspective, the halo effect is basically a lazy shortcut our brains use to save cognitive energy. Every day, our brains process a ton of information. If we had to analyze every single thing we judge from every angle, it'd drain us. So our brains automatically look for cognitive shortcuts. They use a known standout trait as an anchor to guess at other unknown traits. For example, if you see a stranger on the street who's well-dressed and has a warm smile, you'll think, they're probably friendly and trustworthy. It's not like you actually know them. Those two positive traits just put a halo on them, letting your brain make a quick, positive call. Real-world uses of the halo effect. Cognitive magic hiding in daily life. Your halo is an invisible recommendation letter. After joining that Silicon Valley tech company, you quickly notice the halo effect shaping workplace judgments. There are two colleagues on your team, Mark and Sam. Mark always wears custom-tailored suits, and his presentation slides are absolutely stunning. Even when the content lacks depth, your boss still nods and says, "Clear thinking." Sam, though, wears casual clothes and focuses more on data and logic in his presentations. But he's always told to polish the format a bit more, because his slides aren't eye-catching enough. Once, your boss handed a big client project to Mark, saying, "Mark looks like he can represent the company's professional image better." But Mark almost messed up the partnership because he didn't understand the client's needs. Sam had to save the day with his solid technical skills. This is a classic case of image halos and format halos at work. In psychology, the primacy effect, first impressions, often overlaps with the halo effect. If you show off a standout strength the first time you're in a team, like great communication skills or a polished look, that halo becomes your initial impression label for colleagues and bosses. Later, even if you're just average in other areas, they'll cut you more slack because of that halo. On the flip side, if your first impression has no standout halo, even if you have core skills, it might take way longer for people to notice you. It's just like your interview. That nice outfit and quality notebook gave you an initial halo of detail-oriented and reliable, making the interviewers overlook your small on-the-spot mistakes. Celebrity halos make you happy to pay up. One weekend, you're wandering a department store on Fifth Avenue in New York and stop at the perfume counter. Front and center is a new perfume, with an ad featuring Lillian, your favorite Hollywood actress. She's always known for being elegant and intellectual, and last year she even won an award for a movie about women's growth. You pick up the bottle, and before you even smell it, you think, the design feels so Lillian. The salesperson says, she helped develop the scent. It's inspired by her childhood memories of Provence. You barely hesitate to buy it, even though it's 30% more expensive than similar perfumes. When you get home, you realize the scent is almost the same as a cheap perfume you used to wear. But when you chat with friends, you still say, it smells so luxury like Lillian, gentle but strong. Behind this is how brands use the halo effect perfectly. They tie Lillian's elegant, intellectual halo to the perfume. That way, consumers use their known positive feeling, "I like Lillian," to assume the perfume she worked on must be good too. Psychology's associative learning theory is at play here. When we keep seeing a celebrity and a product together, we unconsciously transfer the celebrity's positive traits to the product. The brighter the celebrity's halo, the bigger the likability boost the product gets. It's why so many luxury brands hire unique supermodels as spokespeople. They want the high-end, exclusive halo to stick to the product, making consumers pay the brand premium. Character halos make you see actors through a filter. You've been torn about a mystery drama you're watching lately. The lead is James, your favorite British actor. He played a king in a historical drama that stuck with you. His calm, wise vibe made you a fan. But this new drama's plot is full of holes. The storyline is all over the place, and tons of viewers are complaining on social media. The writers think we're idiots. But when you watch it, you keep overlooking those flaws. Instead, you think, James's acting is so deep, he really shows the character's struggle. You even defend the plot. Maybe I just didn't catch the foreshadowing. There's definitely a twist coming later. Then one day, you accidentally see an interview where James says, "The script for this show has flaws, honestly. I took the role mostly because the character was challenging." That's when you realize you were under the spell of a character halo. James's successful king role gave him such a strong, great actor halo that when you watched his new work, you automatically put on a filter. You focused on his strengths first and ignored the show's problems. Psychologists call this stereotype persistence. Once an actor gets a halo from a role or work, audiences form the stereotype. Everything he acts in is good. Even if later works are worse, that impression sticks around for a while. It's why some actors get loved for playing positive roles. Even when they play villains later, audiences say, "I can't even hate their villain characters." That's the power of a character halo. Grades halos make teachers play favorites. When you volunteered at a middle school in Boston, you notice something interesting. The math teacher pays extra attention to Tom in the class. Tom got the highest score in the class on the last math test, and the teacher always says, "Tom's smart, he's a great learner." Even when Tom's Chinese essays are disorganized and filled with typos, the teacher still says, "Tom just isn't putting effort into Chinese. If he tried, he'd be good at it." Then there's Sarah in the same class. She's top of the grade in Chinese every time, but her math is just average. The teacher rarely praises her, and often says, "Sarah's grades are too lopsided, she won't go far later." Once, you helped Tom with an essay and realized he's actually sensitive to language. He just doesn't know how to organize his thoughts. And when Sarah does math problems, even though she's slow, her thinking is clear. When you told the teacher about your observations, she was surprised. "I always thought Tom was only good at math. I had no idea he's interested in language too." This is the grades halo in education. When a student excels in one subject, teachers tend to assume they should be good at other subjects too. On the flip side, if a student struggles in one subject, it colors how teachers judge their other abilities. Psychology's Pygmalion effect overlaps with the halo effect here. Teachers hold higher expectations for high-achieving students and give them more attention and opportunities. That expectation then affects how the students perform. For students overlooked by the halo, even if they have other potential, they might never get the chance to show it because they're not getting attention. The two sides of the halo effect. Don't let the halo blind you. The halo effect isn't all bad. It really does help us save cognitive energy, letting us make quick judgments in a complicated world. For example, during hiring, interviewers use halos like communication skills or professional certifications to screen candidates fast, making the process more efficient. When we shop, we use brand reputation as a halo to avoid buying bad products. But the halo effect's downsides are just as obvious. It traps us in the cognitive mistake of overgeneralizing, making us miss the true nature of things. Like that time you invested in a startup because you thought the CEO was charismatic and a great speaker, only to later find out the company's core technology was totally unproven. You lost all your money. Or when you loved one book by an author, so you bought all their works, only to find most of them very widely in quality. These are all cases of being tricked by the halo effect. We take the brightness of one trait and assume the whole thing is good, forgetting there might be shadows behind the halo. So how do we look at the halo effect rationally? It's simple. Before making a judgment, ask yourself, am I seeing the whole picture? At work, when evaluating colleagues or team members, Don't just focus on looks or one's strength. Focus more on actual work results. When shopping, don't get tricked by celebrity endorsements or brand halos. First, learn about the product's performance and value for money. In education, teachers should try to set aside grades halos and pay attention to each student's unique potential. When watching TV or movies, learn to tell the actor apart from the character and judge the work objectively. The halo effect is an instinctive brain reaction, but we can use reason to slow it down. When we stop letting the halo of one trait lead us around, we can see people and things more clearly for what they really are. After all, the things that truly matter don't shine because of a halo. They shine slowly over time, thanks to their own substance.